Thanks for being here. I always do love coming to DefCamp. This is my legal disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, but I've played one on the internet successfully before. So when I talk about things that I go on this talk where I talk like, oh, I did this, or I robbed this, or I lied to this person, and you're going to be like, well, that's really horrible, Jason. Remember the kittens. I'm adorable, okay? I will not try to steal from you, kill you, or ruin you financially unless you pay me first. There's always a contract. So when I get to those points, anytime during the talk, it's like, please understand that. Another disclaimer, because I've had people comment on it, that you'll see a lot of themes in my talk, but a lot of examples I'm using are the failings of different U.S. government agencies. And I'm not trying to say that the government agencies are bad. I'm just saying that they're really good at giving bad examples of what to do. It's like, so that's the reason why I'm doing that. So hopefully they don't take offense because, I like actually being able to make it through the border and get back home. So, and when you see this talk, you're going to be like, oh yeah, he's right. That's a little iffy on him now. So please bear with me on that as well. So the name of the talk is I pwn thee not. Basically, it's the top 3 things I love for my clients to do. It's like, because it makes it easier for me to rob them. Or the top 3 things that I hate for them to do because then it makes it harder for me to rob them. And then after I tell you these stories and tell you about these examples, then we're going to ask some questions that you can take back to your enterprise to help make you better secure, make more security conscious in your company. So a little bit about me. You may have known me from the National Geographic where you got to watch me rob a bank in Beirut, or you may have seen me in the news. Actually, that one right there in the upper right hand is actually me at DefCamp a couple years ago. Or you may have seen me, most importantly, this picture here is the best ones. These are actually me robbing people. This is, whoa, there's a little gap there. This is a hotel in the south of France. I'm in the underground area. I robbed this place barefoot, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms, and a t-shirt, which was really cool. 5-star hotel. They provided the hotel keys, master keys, and an unlocked workstation in the back office area. So really recommend that hotel, but not with your data. This is me actually getting an employee to get out of his desk so I could compromise his machine while he was standing next to me. But my favorite is this is an actual machine that I took off of a teller, behind the teller line. I was rude. I didn't even say hello. I just walked in behind the teller line, grabbed the machine, unplugged it, and then walked out with it while there was a teller next to me helping a client. So that was fun. So that's what I do. But I also try to, like, when I do these things, it's like I'm trying to educate, not just, break stuff. So I think that's one of our biggest problems, that we have a lot of people in the red teamers, and it's like a lot of people that come in and they think I'm going to be red team. It's like I'm going to go and like break stuff and hack stuff. We most think of ourselves like this, right? It's like, upper left-hand corner, that's what it's got to be all about. It's like all these high-tech, high-level, sophisticated attacks. It's like everybody thinks that they're like the next ninja or James Bond going in, punching people in faces and see if they've got plans. It's like one of the stupidest things I can come across, because that doesn't help your clients. That doesn't help your client at the end of the day. It's like if they don't understand what the actual threats are, real world scenario, then they're not going to take it seriously. You go in and say, oh, well, we did this and we did that and we used 0 days and we came in and we like crafted this specialty website, and they're going to be like, oh, good, we're safe. They're like, how do you think you're safe? I just told you all this stuff we did. Yeah, but you guys were like ninjas. It's like y'all were like sophisticated. We don't have to worry about that. It's like, so we must be fine. So I usually do the stuff that's on the right over here. It's like, I literally just tell people, it's like, I walked in and said hello and plugged the device in, and you're pwned now. And what's the defense to that? They have to take that seriously. It's like, they have to understand. It's like, trust me, it's like, this stuff is so easy, even I can do it. And it's like, and I make sure they understand that. It's like, there's no sophistication to my attacks. It's like, I've never been accused of being sophisticated, ever. So it's like, so that's not a problem. So it's like, you have to look at that, and you have to see that you have to let your clients know that it's not just advanced techniques. They have to protect against everything. People talking out here about 0 days all the time. You hear 0 day this, 0 day this. 86% of companies, their compromise was because of a vulnerability that was over a decade old. People, who cares about your 0 day? It's like I'm popping boxes with a 5,430 day. It's like, that's the ones you need to be worried about. It's like, how many people have gotten popped or popped a box and stuff with MSO 867? That's over 10 years old, people. Exactly, and it's going to get even older. It's like, so I mean, come on. It's like we got to work on those things. But we also have a problem in our industry, right? Because our executives, they want this. It's like, we need this. We need all this protection, all these APTs. We need a bigger firewall. We need to make it bigger. We've got to make APTs pay for it, or something like that, I guess how it goes, right? It's like, that's what we're always talking about. And you're like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's build that. Here's the budget we're going to need. And they're like, whoa, hold on. We've got the budget for what's on the right. It's like, we're going to give you this much money. We expect this, but we want this. So, and I'm like, can I get an extra money just to put a guy on top with a hard hat or something? It's like, I mean, give me some safety cones to put around. What are you going to do? It's like, so we're at that. It's like, so why don't we start actually dedicating some of the resources and some of the economy instead of just building better technology, and we start educating our employees? Why don't we just start diverting some of that money for all the big shiny blink? I mean, I know there's some blinky box vendors here too, and it's like, and blinky boxes are very important. It's like some come with blue lights now instead of red lights, so that's awesome. It's like, and I'm sure that it's great, but instead of just getting technology to protect your people, we need to get our people to protect our technology. So one of the first things that I love so much, is employees not empowered or educated to question the unusual. That's amazing. I was literally on a job last week in Boston, and I did this engagement, and it was a secured facility. It's like there was like a security at the lobby in the ground floor. But then there was another receptionist up on the floor that I was supposed to go to. And so I start going there, and it's like, and the one thing worse than no security is a false sense of security. Because people think it's like he had to go through 2 levels to get in here. So I'm literally on this job, and my job at this point, I'd already successfully compromised them the day before. When I do a security awareness engagement, I don't do red teaming, I do security awareness engagements. In other words, I pwn you. Like the first day or second day, it's like I'm the worst thing to happen to you at the worst possible time. It's like I'm great at parties, okay? It's like, but what I do after that is then I get caught. Then I make sure I do something so the employees can catch me. Because trust me, there's never been a domain controller that's got its feelings hurt because you popped it with MSO 867. Okay, but your humans do get upset when they fall for a phishing email or when you show that they failed. It's like, so you've got to give them a win. Give your employees something to look up to, not just everything to look down on. So that's how I try to do these. So I told my client, I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I got this USB Ninja, it looks like a lightning charger cable. It's like, I'm not gonna attach a phone to it. I'm gonna plug this cable in, and then I'm going to use my detonator. It's not really a detonator, but it sounds cool when I call it a detonator. It's like, and I push the button, boop. It's like Notepad pops up, and it automatically writes, test completed successfully. Thank you for your cooperation. Smiley emoji. That's sketchy AF, right? It's like, that's like, something's not good. So I was like, I'm going to do that, and I'll probably be successful a little bit, but then I'm going to get caught, and then that's the win. It's like, boom, it's like we're done with the engagement. 6 times I did that. 6 times I'm successful. And I'm like, this is not working out the way I thought it would be. So I go back to where the client is. It's like my point of contact, and we huddle up, and I'm like, okay, that didn't seem to work. I was way too successful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this device, and it's a Bash Bunny. And it's like it's square, it's blocky, it's way more obvious, it's a USB drive. And I'm not going to be so persuasive when I talk to them, because I was saying I was like an asset manager from auditing or something like that, and I was auditing their machines. I'm just going to tell them I'm going to do stuff with their machines, and we'll see how that works. So I go in, and I start going to this other department. 6 times. Successful. It's like, and I'm like, and in their defense, I will tell you this, I was using a PowerShell script. This PowerShell script is really awesome because all it does is it runs PowerShell and it runs ASCII Rick Astley. And it does the MP3, so if you've got your speakers on, you can actually hear him sing Never Gonna Give You Up, which is amazing script. The problem is they had PowerShell blocked. So their SOC lit up like a Christmas tree, which was good on them. It's like they would have been able to detect me if they were allowed to actually result on it. But I just let the PowerShell error message be the proof that everything was working right. Okay, that's what you're supposed to get, very good job. 6 out of 6, they let me do it. And so now I'm telling them, okay, this is definitely not working out the way I was expecting. I'm just gonna go to your IT department, your programmers. They're gonna be a little bit more suspicious. It's like, and I'm just gonna go and say, hey, I need to plug it in and see what happens. It's like, so I go over there. Actually, the 2 complete ones, both of them let me do it. I'm like, I give up. And so I go back to the class and look, I noticed that your laptops don't have laptop lock cables. That's a finding, but besides just being a finding, I'm just gonna start jacking your laptops. It's like, I'm just gonna go walk around and I'm just gonna grab laptops. So literally, I started walking through their facility and stuff, you know, and I would go see an unattended laptop like, yoink, yoink. I had, by this time, 5 laptops under my arm. 3 under one arm, 2 on the other, and I'd gone through 2 departments. It was awesome. It's like I literally said out loud to one group of people, I walked by and there was a MacBook, and it was like a thicker MacBook. It was one of the heavier ones. And literally there was another lighter laptop next to it, and I said out loud, oh, that one looks too heavy. I'm just gonna take this one. And I just took it, just based on weight, which I thought was sort of suspicious. So I'm now walking down this row of cubes, and there's 2 guys at the end of the row. And they're giving me that look. Like, that motherfucker. And they were talking to each other. And I think they're talking about, I'm not like a great social engineer, but I can pick up on some vibes. I think they're talking about me. So they're just waiting for me to get over there. And so I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. It's like, so I walk up to them, and halfway between them and me, I notice another laptop on a docking station. So I'm like walking, and I look, and I stop right at the laptop, and I look at them, and I look at the machine, and I like, yeah, undock it. Oops. It's like, undock it, and I take it. I now have 6 laptops under my arms. I walk right up to him, and I'm going, hey, how's it going? What's up? And the guy's like, I noticed I'm with the sales department. I noticed that you're taking some of our employees' laptops. Yeah, I'm taking laptops that are unattended. It's like, and they're looking at me like, okay, this is not what we expected. So it's like, well, these they're going to be coming back. They're going to need their laptops. So, oh yeah, of course they are. It's like I'm sure they'll get them back. It's like, I got to go now. I'll talk to you later. And I walked off. I literally made it to the elevator lobby. It's like, I will tell you, a lady in HR, she freaking 20 seconds later ran me down like she was coming in hot, guns blazing. It's like, if she would have made it to the glass door, I would have dropped the laptops. I was like, don't hurt me, please. It's like, but what was the biggest problem? Even those 2 guys, they did a good job. They tried to question, but they weren't empowered or educated on how to handle a situation like that. It doesn't matter how attentive your employees are if they're not aware of what should be done. If your employees didn't know that they should not let someone on their computer unless it's been authorized and they verified, then that's how you're going to keep getting malware. If they're not empowered to call security or to talk to someone about some weird sketchy person that said, running around plugging USB drives in, that's a problem. So you have to educate and empower your users, because that's what's important. It's like, I should not have gotten past phase 1 in that, but it was because of the fact that people didn't know how to question. And once they did question, they didn't know how to confront, or they didn't know how to respond. It's like, you have to make sure your employees are aware of that as well. Now, One of the things I hate, it's like, not the CIA, because you guys are probably in the audience, yay, but our public spaces that are well monitored and highly visible. I don't know if this is what the lobby of the CIA looks like. Can anybody help me? Is this what the lobby looks like? Okay, now we know where the feds are. So, so the key thing is like, what I tell people, the only way I'm going to see the CIA is going to be with a black bag over my head going through the back door. So I'm never seeing this lobby. So, but one of the things that I do hate is public spaces, your lobbies, your building lobbies that are well monitored, that are like, hard for traffic just to loiter. Because I love to loiter. It's like, who doesn't love to loiter? It's like, that's even a cool word, loitering. It's like, it's like, yeah, I'm loitering. It's like, so that's awesome. Except for in the places where you can't do that. So I was in Moscow last year, which is probably the reason why I'm on some other lists. It's like, I'm going back again right after DefCamp, which is awesome. It's like, and I was in Moscow, and I have some friends there. And I had a friend of mine say, hey, you're going to be in Moscow. Why don't you go hang out and do a tour of the Kaspersky headquarters? I'm like, sure. It's like, Eugene's a friend of mine. It's like, I met him in Germany. He's a really great guy, good hugger. It's like, I said, I'll do that. So I go to the headquarters, and if you know me, anybody, you think, I can't turn this off. Okay, it's like, it's not that I try to rob every person that I meet or every place that I go, but I always got to think about it. It's like how would I rob this building? So I can't help it. It's just one of those things. So it's like, I get into the headquarters, and the first thing that I do, it's like, I see the really cool elephant statue, which is really neat, and I see this big couch, and then there's like the reception area over there, but I don't want to go there just yet. I just want to sit down, sort of view the place. It's like, see what it's like. It's like. And there was some security by the gate for the visitors. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So before my butt touched leather, it's like before I was fully sitting down on that couch, security guy came over. Excuse me, comrade. It's like, he didn't say comrade, but I'm terrible with accents. It's like, how may I help you? It's like, are you here? Have you been registered? It's like, do you need, are you visiting someone? How can I be of service? It's like, let's make sure you get registered. I mean, this guy, I don't know if, I'm just saying, it's like this guy had a shirt that was either 2 times too small or muscles 4 times too big. It's like, and when you're that size, you can be as polite as you effing want, right? It's like, but he was very professional, very polite, but he firmly let me know, you got to register, okay? It's like, I don't know who you are, you're untrusted, get over there to the registration desk. So that's what I did, because I'm not arguing with that guy, right? So I go over there and I do that, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, your people in your lobby should not be unverified for more than 5 minutes. That may be too long. It's like your lobby is not there to be comfortable. It's like so many people have these lobbies that they've got a Starbucks, and it's like they've got these little cafes, and it's like all these productive areas. I love those. My Wi-Fi Pineapple loves those. It's like, I mean, those are great places to just hang out, watch the foot traffic, see when the shifts change, see what kind of badges people are using, get pictures of badges, clone badges. Those are amazing places. I love those lobbies. It's like your lobby is to get people verified and back to where they're supposed to go. That's it. It's like we have to get back and making sure that that's sort of what your lobbies are supposed to be like. Oh my gosh. It's like you can't talk. Is there any TSA agents in the room? I'm joking. This is a security conference. There's no TSA here. But one of the things is like, I mean, you can't talk about really bad failing security or security failure without mentioning the TSA at some point, which is another reason why I have problems and get nervous when I go back into the country. But one of the things that I love is no egress filtering or internal monitoring. I love that. It's like I literally was in I was bringing a friend an iPad on this trip, and TSA in the U.S., they were really good. They noticed that it was in the box. It was still in the box, and I put it in my main carry-on, and it's like, because it couldn't fit in my little bag, so it's like, so I put it in there, and they stopped me. Oh my gosh, they stopped me. I'm glad they didn't draw guns or anything, because it's like, I had that and I didn't take it out, and I'm like, It's an iPad. It's like, it's obvious it's an iPad. What's the deal? So you have to take it out, okay? Take it out, it's in the box. It's like, well, do I have to take it out of the box? No, you just keep it there. You just have to take it out. Yeah, that helps, right? So I do that, but now I've got a connection, and I got to connect to Charles de Gaulle. Okay, sorry. But they take great pride in being the worst airport in the world, I think. It's like, because I mean, the quality shows. So it's like, so I go through, I've got like an hour connection to get through there, and I'm like, mother, this is not going to work. So I take the gamble. I realize it's like, well, they're supposed to stop me. It's like when they noticed the iPad in there, but the lines are horrible. The crowd is already going. I mean, come on, it's Charles de Gaulle. It's like, so it's all just a cluster right there. It's like, I'm going to just leave it in there. It's like, and I don't think they're going to say nothing because that guy is overworked. That guy knows he can use basic sense when he's allowed to, or when he's too lazy to do his job. It's like, I'm going to count on that. Sure enough, right through. He failed. He did a bad job. It allowed me, I mean, I appreciated it. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was awesome, but he did not do his job. He detected something that was not irregular. And trust me, they're stupid rules anyway, okay? Their policies suck. It's like, it's not about security, it's about security theater. So it's like, but he still did not do his job. He still did not, because it was just easier to let it go because there was too much crowd. He didn't want to worry that. That's where our problem is. Sometimes we have people monitoring. It's like, but they're not really using any critical thinking. They're not really thinking it through. I mean, remember Sony? They lost 1.8 terabytes of data. How do you let 1.8 terabytes of data leave your network without going, that's odd? It's like, you at least have networking, go and check to see if they need to increase the bandwidth or something. Come on, people. Somebody should have said something. It's like, oh, 1.8 terabytes going to Paraguay. Okay. It's like, no, there's an issue. It's like, so you have to have it. It's like, so many people have all these real nice fancy rules and IPSs and firewalls, it's like application layer firewalls that are doing all this really cool stuff about keeping stuff going into your network. And then you ask them, it's like, well, what are you monitoring and what do you block going outbound? And you're like, that's important. One of the payloads that I use is a script that calls out to telnet to tau.blinkylights.nl. And all it does is it runs in the command prompt, it runs ASCII Star Wars, which is awesome. Except for your Bob in accounting shouldn't have telnet to the Netherlands. Why does he have telnet access to the Netherlands? So you need to have that kind of monitoring. You can't just say, I'm blocking everything. You got to make sure you know what's going out, what's going outbound. Because most malware, they're not coming in. They're getting the user to go out to their command and control, to download the rest of the payload. It's like, and now it's going outbound, not inbound. So you need to understand that's what you have to start doing more. One of the things I do hate greatly is dual factor authorization enterprise-wide. That's a pain in the butt. It's like, because, I mean, I'm not talking about just on the network. I love computer-based dual factor authentication. If you go, I've robbed a lot of banks in my life, and it's mostly legal. No, I'm joking. All legal, all 100% with contracts. It's like, don't any rumors started here in Romania. It's like, but whenever I go to the executive's office, they are allowed to do transfers and wire transfers for like millions of dollars. So that stuff you got to take seriously. So you got to have a dual factor authentication USB drive. It's like, you got to make sure you keep that at all times. It's like, because you got to authorize that. You don't want no one else to be able to do it. I'm joking. It's in the laptop usually 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, they still plugged it in to the laptop. And trust me, the one other time, it's in their top drawer. It's like, when I do this job, I go through a lot of people's drawers. It's like, it was in the top drawer. It's usually where the USB key fob is. So you gotta have the policy where it's actually being used. I also like physical dual factor. I mean, it's great having an RFID badge. That's awesome. It's like, I mean, that takes like a whole, millisecond to copy now. It's like, and I'm not talking about the Proxmart, like I love the Proxmart, but you gotta touch people. You gotta like do that little bump. It's like, and that's a little awkward, especially more people are using lanyards. So it's like bumping in the line to get food is a little bit less obvious than going, hi, how's it going? This looks like you got some mustard on your shirt. Can I fix that for you? It's like, so that's a little bit more obvious. Now you got the boss cloner that does it from 3 feet away, and it auto clones it. It's like, so I mean, the attacks are getting more, so you have to start switching to not just having the RFID badge, but having a keypad. It's like you have to have that dual factor. It's like something that you have and something that you know. It's like, that's one of the things that we need to switch up, and I don't see enough of them, because trust me, it upsets me a lot when I'm trying to rob you and I find out that I can't go any further inside the building because I don't have the PIN code. It's like, sometimes I get the PIN code, because it doesn't matter how great your sophisticated your thing is, if your PIN pad is worn out and I see the keys rubbed off is 2 and 4 and 1 and 3, I'm like, let me get my calculus out and see what that code is. It's like, it's not really hard if you're like letting them wear down and use the same PIN code. It's like, because a 4-digit PIN code, that's 21 times. It takes 21 times to guess that. It's like, and I'm good at, it's like I play a lot of Angry Birds. I'm good at like punching that button really quick. It's like, I can find it. So you need to make sure that they understand that. Now, one of the things that I love for a company to do is to not follow established procedures. It doesn't matter how great and how nice your policies and procedures are if people aren't following the rules. This was a great story, this was a horrible story from December of last year, where 2 civilians, I love how they say civilians, 2 civilians somehow breached an Air Force base and were found only when one of them told the airmen she'd been kidnapped. Everybody made this big deal about, bum rushing Area 51, like, oh, we're going to do Narada run. I'm like, dude, you can just drive into the Civic and it doesn't seem to be a problem. It's like, I don't know why the big problem is, trying to guard Area 51. This guy kidnapped a woman, was on his way to do whatever, took a wrong turn, drove onto the Air Force base, then not realizing where to go or how to get back out of the Air Force base, made a stop. I guess he was checking Google Maps. I don't know. But she was able to get out of the car and run over to some servicemen going like, help me, help me. It's like, I need your help. And their immediate response is, who the f are you? It's like, so we can all agree that Air Force bases have certain policies and procedures about people being able to drive on. But somehow that guard, I don't think, followed all the procedures. It's like, and it reminds me of another story. This one's even more epic, okay? This actually takes place back during the Cold War in the 60s. A Russian spy drives onto an Air Force base in Germany. He walks up to a fighter jet. He takes a missile off the fighter jet. He puts it in a wheelbarrow. And I really hope that he stole the wheelbarrow while he was there. It's like, it doesn't add to the story, but it makes it funnier if he stole the wheelbarrow instead of having brought one with him. It's like, so he puts the missile into the wheelbarrow, drives it, wheels it, whatever, to his vehicle, puts the missile in the back seat. It was a Mercedes because Germany. It's like, puts the missile in the back seat, puts a red flag because it's sticking out the window, and German laws are German laws. You don't F with those, okay? It's like, puts it and drives it back to his home. He then disassembles the missile and I don't say email. It's like mails each piece back to Russia. And the best part about that was that German mail system is very efficient. Every single piece made it. It's like, so we can all agree maybe some policies and procedures weren't followed there either. So it's not like a one-off thing. We have to make sure you're following proper procedures. It's like, you want to say that your server room is secured, and I'm like, is it secured as good as an Air Force base in Germany? And they're like, oh yeah, then you're in trouble, dude. it's like you're in some serious trouble. You got to make it better than that, okay? So you have to worry about that stuff. So now, what is the main point that I'm trying to do? It's like, I call this my dessert and vegetables talk. Because I wanted to start off by giving you some funny stories, maybe getting a couple laughs. It's like trying to entertain you on some of the things that we have to watch out for. It's like pros and cons, things that we have to watch out for when we're doing our job. But now let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's ask some questions. It's like, let's ask some questions that we can talk, because I want you to be able to bring stuff back to your enterprise and to your company saying, hey, here's some questions I think we should look at. So let's go into that. It's like, I'm one of those guys, it's like, I don't like to just go onto the stage and say, hey, this is how it's all broken. Okay, I'm done. And you're like, well, how do you fix that? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I break stuff. It's like, do you not see my resume? It's like, that's just what I do. It's like, I don't fix the stuff. You wasted my time. It's like, if I'm not coming up with a solution, if I'm not trying to help you with stuff to make it better, then I just came up and just grandstanded for an hour. So it's like, let's go and make sure that we're actually adding some of the other stuff from the security side, from the defensive side. So here's one of the first questions that you want to take back. Who do you ask for identification? And this is, it's a trick question. Everybody, right? You ask everybody. Though I did throw in a trick one because that guy actually has a company ID, but you ask everyone. It's like, my friend Ben 10 from Trusted Sec, he told me this great story of one of his clients that what they do is they play the Where's Waldo game. And I'm like, that's amazing. Tell me more. It's like, and what they do is every quarter, one of the employees in the company has their badge replaced. They're given a new badge, same access, same everything else, but the picture has been changed to Waldo. And you get money if you spot that person during that quarter. So do you know what people are doing, employees are doing? They're looking at badges. They're like, is that the right badge? Are you supposed to be here? It's like, looking for Waldo, you know? They don't care about your security, but now there's something in it for them. That's what you do in gamification. It's like you can't make people more secure, but you can incentivize them being more secure. It's like, and that's what they did. So it's like people started looking for badges. I literally worked at a bank for 14 years. My badge, I had one badge in the middle. It's like, and then I had two badges on either side from Skydog. It's like, one said Stark Industries, and it had my picture on it. It's like, and the other one was from Incom. So if you like Iron Man or Tron, it's like you'll get those. It's like, no one questioned me about that badge. That made me sad. You know, it's like, I mean, because come on, let's face it, I look sketchy AF on the regular, right? It's like, for them not to question me just makes it even worse. It's like, so you have to make sure you're questioning people for their identification. Make sure that person that's supposed to be there knows there. I mean, on that job that I did last week, you also tell your employees, you don't Instagram your employee badges. Thank you, Microsoft, though. You keep going, because it's like, I've got so many different Microsoft badges that I use, some with my name, some with someone else's name. It's like, and someone's always nice enough to give me the updated one, so that's awesome, usually on Twitter. So that's perfect. It's like, but that's really bad. I had an employee badge last week because someone Instagrammed it. And the logo they used on the badge was the same logo as their website logo. So it literally took less than 20 minutes for my friend April to actually create me a new employee badge that mimicked the one from Instagram. It's a pretty good copy because it got me everywhere. So you have to make sure your employees know to be careful about those badges. That can actually mean something to someone. It's like someone that's trying to do something bad. Now, talking about the social media, that segues into it. It's like, what does your social media profile really say about you? People go and talk about like, well, you can't do this. Like, we're not talking about the company saying, this is what you can post, this is what you can't post, okay? Because then you start getting in a lot of different gray areas. What I'm saying is employers need to start explaining to employees, not dictating to them what they should do, but actually educating them on, by the way, did you know if you post this information, I can calculate all that information, and I can then try to assume your identity to send a phish email to your coworker so they will believe that it's you, because I can gather that information. Show them how it can be dangerous. I literally I was doing one talk, and it's like, and I decided to rob a bank, do a demo for robbing a bank, and I found a employee, a business managers from the bank's Facebook profile. I was not a friend of this person. And trust me, after this talk, I was never going to be a friend of this person. But she had listed her actual phone number and street address on her public Facebook profile. I did not have to be a friend to see those. So I put that in the slide. The very next slide was a picture of her house. Come on, remember the kittens. I'm not that creepy. It was from Google Street View, okay? I didn't go there and take a picture of her house to prove a point. It's like, I'm too lazy for that. It's like, I just went and got it off of Google Street View. Imagine what people reacted when they realized it's like, that's what could happen. Show them how that impact works. Show them how what you can do online can be detrimental to your job at work. It's like, I mean, I've had other issues too as well with other situations where I've posted some questionable content. It's like before. And my CIO one time, the only time that I got caught on it, it's like someone tried to catch me on it, was the CIO of the bank I used to work for. It's like, Jason, I'm glad you had a good time at DefCon. It's like, I follow you on Twitter. Can you explain to me this, what appears to be a naked hug that you're doing with Paul Asadorian behind the Heck Naked banner at DefCon? And I'm like, I had underwear on, okay, and he had shorts on. It's like, but we had this banner that made it look like it was an awkward hug gone horribly wrong. And I still blame Paul and Dave Kennedy for that. And I just explained to him, I was like, dude, let me break it down to you. It's like, what I tweet is my stuff. It's like not your stuff. I've never referenced you publicly, so I don't care. And also, I have more followers than this bank does, so I don't care about that either. So, and he's like, valid points. Exactly. He hated me anyway, don't worry. It's like, it was way before this. So that was just one of those issues. So you have to make sure that you're not trying to dictate what your people are posting. You're not trying to police their post. You're trying to let them understand why it can be dangerous to them. Insider threats. What's one of the biggest insider threats? When we think insider threats, we think the malicious insider, right? The bad guy, the evil dude, out doing bad stuff. But no, you're limiting your scope. You don't understand. It's like the insider threat may not be malicious. It could just be stupid. And once again, I said something about bad security and stupidity. You know, I'm bringing up the TSA again. So here is about 14 million check bags passed through TSA hands during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. That's an awesome story. Why did you print the keys out? Why did you show everybody exactly what the keys look like so people can make blanks? And trust me, you can 3D print all these keys now. They're available online to print. When the government was reached for comment, Homeland Security was asked, like, dude, why'd you do this? This is a security breach. Homeland Security, remember, the same government who wants all your encryption keys on your mobile devices, it's like doing stuff with these keys, they were like, it's not really a security thing, it's for convenience to the travelers. It's like, so we don't really consider this an issue where we're gonna have to resolve it. And I'm like, yeah, I really want you back during my Apple, thank you. It's like, you know, that's a problem. We have to ask ourselves that. It's like, that's one of the things you have to worry about. They could care less, they screwed up. But it's like, you know, it's like, that's an insider threat. Sometimes the threat's coming from inside the house. It's like, I had an executive one time at a company who decided to be a good worker. He decided to go above and beyond his job because he noticed that he was spending a lot of time in the conference room and he was not able to get emails. He wasn't able to respond to situations fast enough because he had like an hour or 2 hours in this conference room. So he did the best thing that he could do. It's like he got a Linksys router, and trust me, because when I got to the parking lot, it literally just said Linksys still. It's like, got a Linksys router, plugged in the internal network into the internet jack of the Linksys, And now he had Wi-Fi in the conference room so he could still do work and still answer his emails and be very productive. Guess who else was very productive that day? It's like, that'd be me. It's like, that's an issue. He was not a malicious insider. It doesn't matter when you're reporting the breach. He had that going for 6 months before I got there. I'm glad I was the only one there. It's like I was thinking a whole roll of vans, just be rolled up right to it and stuff, It's like the saturation is just horrible. So you've got to make sure that, look for the insiders that are not being malicious, but they could just be making mistakes. They're not educated properly. And phishing is one of the leading causes of compromise, but do your employees really take it seriously? I put this in today. It's like phishing attacks reach highest levels in 3 years. It's like we keep talking about all these dangers online, all these different vulnerabilities, all these different holes in OSs and software and mobile. People are still clicking links, people. It's like, hey, I'll send you, give me your email address later. It's like, I'll send you something. You'll love it. It's like, I'm telling you, educating your employees about the dangers. Remember, Target lost over $300 million. And it wasn't their company that got breached first. It was an HVAC company, their aircon company. One employee clicked one link. Target just had a relationship with them, a service agreement, lost $300 million because of that one link and that one email. When you ever hear these, feds or security people, they're talking about it was APT. Well, you gotta be careful about APT. I hate that. Let's be honest, advanced persistent threats. Really? That's what you tell your stockholders and shareholders and stuff, stock people, when you got popped, right? APT stands for adequate phishing technique. That's it. 99% of the time, that's your APT right there. It's like, so we need to stop trying to make it look like you got popped by a link. It's like someone said, click here for your UPS package. That's not sophisticated, okay? That's not advanced. It's like, it is slightly threatening, because it's like, you want to get that package, but still, it doesn't matter. So you need to train your employees not to be aware and suspicious of emails. Emails are dangerous things. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this, your antivirus and all your other stuff. But educate them as well on how to do it. And do you vet your security system to make sure they are operating as intended? I think this is a perfect example because I love this. Like, the NSA improperly overcollected call detail records for a second time last year. Documents show renewing privacy concerns about the surveillance program due to expire in December. And have you ever noticed, and this is from this year, this is from June, have you ever noticed the NSA, just like Facebook, coincidence, have always, when they've made a mistake, it's always to suck down more data? Have you ever gotten a notice from Facebook saying, oh, we accidentally locked your account down more so it was more private, so if you need to share stuff more publicly, it's like you need to change your settings? Nope. It's always, hey, we left it wide open, our bad. And Facebook just had another one where they said that. It's like where they just had their group's privacy data was like, oops, somehow that was being collected by everybody. Hate it when that happens. It's like, so why do we let sales engineers come in, buy us dinner, it's like, tell us about all the wonderful gizmos and bibobs and things that our device can do, plug it in, set the defaults, and no, our job is done. And then you're like, okay, we're protected. Snort's installed with the default rule base. We should be fine, right? No, there's a problem with that. You need to vet. Every quarter, you should be sending malware to one of your systems. Don't get on Twitter saying, Jason's saying send the malware. No, have a system that is dedicated, that mirrors your work environment, that the network mirrors your work environment, but is segmented from your company. It's like, and send it malware. See if your email controls actually work. See if it does a callback at the firewall reports. See what goes on the network, what alerts see it. Because sometimes you're going to be surprised, nothing did. That's an issue. So you need to vet it. You can't just say, oh, he bought me dinner, everything should work out fine. No. You need to test that, trust but verify. It's like, make sure that that equipment is actually doing what you paid that billions of dollars for. It's like, I mean, we all know that the light's blue now, so it's like, it's definitely working, but what else is it doing? So you got to test those things. And also, this is an important thing, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just keep picking on them. Come on, they're really bad. It's like, should your incident response create another incident? This was a response from Homeland Security. I'm so not getting back home now. U.S. Customs and Border Control said the traveler and license plate image data hacked from its contractor was not found on the dark web. I love that. Don't worry, citizens. We searched the dark web. Okay, that's the way you're supposed to say it. I don't know why I didn't make the rules, okay? So they're saying it's like they get popped because a contractor didn't follow policies and procedures, copied their data, the government data, off the government servers, which was against policy, against procedures, shock face right now. It's like, and copied over to the internal network of the contracting company that the government hired. And this is, hope you're sitting down for this, sorry guys in the back, but that company got popped. What were the odds, right? And then 300 gigs of data were downloaded and stolen. They didn't find out till they got a notice from the attacker going, ha ha, we got you. You know, so Homeland Security was trying to do like damage controls, like, don't worry, we searched the dark web. You're safe. Literally, just hours later, Joseph Cott goes, here's another image from the hacked CBP contractor that was leaked on the dark web. You can see the person's face and vehicle license plate clearly were blurred. There are thousands of these images free for anyone to download on the dark web. Website. He literally found it in under 3 hours. That's a problem. So now, not only do you have an incident breach from Homeland Security, it's like they're having, but now how can you trust them? Like you did before, but still, how can you trust them now? It's like with this issue. It's like because they lied. They did not adequately inform you. If your company gets popped, own up to it. Do full disclosure. Let your people you're responsible for, let them know, hey, we got breached. No one's going to be surprised at that. This is 2019, people. It's just a matter of time. But how you respond to it matters. How you communicate to your shareholders, you communicate to your customers, how you communicate to your peers, that's what matters now. It's like, how quickly did you respond to it? How quickly did you notice it? What ramifications were there? What incidents took place? What was done? What was the response? How fast? How effective? Share that information, because I still understand that you got popped, but now I feel better about it because you've responded properly. You've let me know, so now I feel like you're more competent to handle something. It's like, not like this. So it's like you want to be able to try to do that. And ending on a somewhat positive note, this happened a couple of days ago. Trend Micro got popped. Once again, surprise face. It's like by an insider threat. So they had an insider employee, malicious, malicious, okay? Because he downloaded the database, the customer database with information, and then and sold it to some scam call center people, which, you know, has a certain level of hell waiting for them, but still went after them. And that was recently today. Trend Micro found it and responded to it, but not only did they do that, they did a full disclosure explaining to them on their website what occurred, what took place, that they informed their people that were affected. It's like, and they handled the situation, and they contacted law enforcement. They told us what we needed to know, and they owned up to the fact of it. It's like, so that's what you need to do. It's like, you're good. If you get breached, it happens, but how you respond matters. So make sure you're doing that. Now, this is a confession time that I usually do on this talk this year, is how many people have noticed that my talk usually has the same theme? For 10 years, people, I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again, just finding different ways and kittens to get the point across. I'm tired of being so subtle, because everybody looks at me like, Jason, you're so subtle. I know, it's a problem. It's like, we have a problem here, people. It's not the technology. We're not investing time in our users. We're not explaining them and holding them to accountability to protect our enterprise. It's like if you look at your employees as a liability, guess what? That's exactly what they'll be. If you start looking at your employees like assets, like part of your security department, guess what? That's what they'll be. The choice is up to you. Stop blaming them. That's on you. How you treat your employees, how you educate your employees, that's on you. So if you want assets instead of liabilities, take the time to start actually properly educating your users on how to be more security aware.
Thank you so much, Jason. I think we're going to need a minute to take that in. So we have time for 2 very quick questions.
Yes.
My quick question was, if you have a low security budget for your system, how do you secure it?
If you have a low security budget for your company, it's like, how do you secure it? You do that by, how much does the poster board cost? It's like putting security awareness posters, printing them out, putting them in the break rooms. It's like getting a gift card. It's like, and then saying there's a raffle every quarter for people who respond to a phishing email or they respond to a visitor, they get entered into a drawing. The prize doesn't change quarter to quarter, but the people that participate do. So find low budget ways to do that, to make it a competition, make it sort of gamification for your users. That doesn't take technology. And also do lunch and learns, where they can bring their own lunch in. It's like, and you can teach them how to do security at their Wi-Fi at their house, how to check their social media profiles for security leaks. None of that has to do with company security, but then again, they don't care about your company's security. You teach them how to be security conscious at home, they bring that to work. It's like, so educate them that way. It's like, and that doesn't cost hardly any money. It's like, so that's better for the low budget.
Yes.
Yep.
So one more question.
All
Raise
right.
your hand. Please stand up so we can see you. Take that. Yeah.
Thank you. My question is kind of weird. Did you
I'm very weird, so it's great.
Did you manage to steal a surveillance camera ever? Or did you think about that? Thank you.
No, I have not stolen surveillance cameras, but I have stolen DVRs before. It's like, it's way easier. It's like, because the cameras are a little bit more obvious. It's like, but if you take the DVR that they all record to, you're just as good. It's like, you know, it's like, it's all about numbers.
That was awesome. Thank you so much again, Jason.
Thank you for having me. And thanks again to Jeff for letting me borrow his laptop.